Hello my friends and welcome back. It's Monday, the 1st of September, so happy Monday to you and happy 1st of September to all of the children who are going to school. At least in Estonia, kids go to school exactly on the 1st of September usually, which means they have a bouquet of flowers, small kids on the streets with the flowers, walking to school, nicely dressed and everything. Parents are sending them there. It's like this big event. I'm not sure how it is in Western Europe or in America, but I could imagine it's similar, right? Your kids go to school and they have had a big summer, big vacation, and now it's a bit stressful. They have to go again and wake up early again. Well, in Russia, it's the same. 1st of September, kids go to school, all the school shopping is done. If you're a parent, you know you gotta put up a lot of money for that. In Russia, though, you wanna get some discounts? Well, you can buy school stuff, school supplies with Putin's photos on them. Check it out. This kid is going to school with his new swag, new merch, you know. Putin's bag, Putin's ruler and the math things. I don't know how you call it in English. Look, you got a Putin's tetrads. I don't know how this, like tetrad is, I think, a notebook in Russian or something. Putin with a pistol. Putin tetradki, yes, she says it. Putin diaries. Putin spinal. This is a pencil case spinal. Of course, if you're a teacher and your kid is wearing all Putin stuff, but he's a really bad kid, acting real bad, never does his homework, you cannot punish him. He has Putin stuff, he's very patriotic. And in Russian school, that's more important than the grades or something. So this kid is cool. This kid is set up for life. You got merch like this, you got swag like this, you're set up for life. Free education for you. And in Russia, it is free, but still. Even the big backpack is with a massive Putin's face. Okay, yeah, this is funny to watch, but in all truthfulness, I want to say if your kid is really going to school in a nice, normal Western society, then he probably or she is feeling a bit stressed, because I always was. I still have school stress when it's September now and the weather is going bad in Estonia. It's going to rain. I go to work. I feel like I'm going to school. It's just a mental trauma from that time. So be nice to your kids. Send them to school, hug them, love them, spend time with them. Because in Russia, this is what they have to go to school with sometimes. But that's not it though. Because, you know, in America, you got school buses and stuff. Well, in Russia, some areas they have them. In some areas, kids have to work their own way to school. Sometimes parents drive them, sometimes not. It can be tough. But now, during the full-scale invasion, when Ukraine is eliminating Russian oil refineries, there are fuel shortages in certain areas, and it's going bigger and bigger, the areas where there's no diesel. And most of the buses work with diesel, so no school buses. How are the kids gonna get to school? You're a kid in Russia, you have school anxiety. That's bad as it is. Then you gotta get your Putin pencil case and Putin bag, go and wait for your bus, which is not arriving because the oil refinery was blown up. Damn it. You spawned in Russia, that's a bad start. So, another district, gasoline sales of the population in the Leninsky district of the Jewish Autonomous Region will be resumed next week. And yes, you heard correctly, Jewish Autonomous Region. What is that? What? Yeah, it is. Right in the Far East, right here. If you want to go into the history of this region, I mean, it's very Russian. It's very imperialistic. I mean, they love deportations and ethnic cleansing, so that's where this region got its name in the Far East, because they were moved there at one area, at one time period. But yeah, in this specific area, no fuel sales at all, cancelled. You cannot get any fuel. So if you're a kid going to school there, no way there's bus coming, no way. And why is it all that? Well, I'm glad you asked, because on 30th of August, 2 days ago, another 2 refineries were blown up by Ukrainian drones. We're talking about Krasnodar refinery, 1.1% of the total Russian output of refined oil products, and Syzran refinery. Now, both of these refineries have been struck in the past. Syzran, I think, many times because it's one of the biggest refineries in Russia. Well, they both burned. Plenty of videos about it, plenty of beautiful, nice barbecue fires for us to watch. And if you take it that Syzran is 3% of the of the entire Russian refining output, and Krasnodar is 1%, you get 4% of the total output knocked out in one night. And these nights follow each other. There's many nights like that in August. There's gonna be many in September. So yeah, you can see why Russian regions are having fuel crisis, fuel shortages. I mean, some areas say that we only give fuels to buses and public transport. Some areas don't have diesel at all, so not even school buses can run. It's different area to area, but usually in Russia, every pattern follows the same rules. The closer you are to Moscow and St. Petersburg, the more stuff you have. The further away you are in the Far East, for example, in the Jewish autonomous region, which is very, very far east, you have nothing, because nothing reaches there. You're priority number bazillionth. And now, of course, since there is no fuel in some areas, Russians want to make money off of that situation. That's just how the thing is going. So they dilute diesel and gasoline with water, which of course makes it, it might not, but it could be very deadly for the engines. So we have videos, plenty of videos of cars just not starting anymore. If an engine fails like that, it's flooded with wrong liquid, you pretty much gotta remove it and replace it. It's very hard to get it running again. So yeah, this issue in some certain areas it's on massive scale. And it's a very expensive issue for cars, if you know. If somebody's girlfriend, I don't want to offend anybody, if somebody's girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, kids do it, put diesel in a gasoline car or gasoline in a diesel car, you know what's up. You gotta switch the engine pretty much. It's really bad. But now let's look a little bit on a bigger scale. We always talk about this gasoline crisis, fuel crisis in Russia, but that's actually only a symptom of a larger economic, I don't want to say the word collapse because people are so fed up with that word. It's just a recession. I'm going to use the word recession because Russia is now going into a recession, which happens also in the West all the time. The volume of overdue mortgage loans for more than 90 days rose to 157 billion rubles. Growth per month, 8%. Growth per year, 114%. Share of bad loans on the balance sheet, 0.8%, but that's all a lie. Banks are hiding the true situation. Bloomberg wrote about the manipulations that banks do, and they do. Look at that, the red line, you can see it's the increase in loans that have gone bad. So people not paying their mortgages for more than 3 months. You're in Western Europe or in America, imagine if you would not pay your mortgage for more than 3 months or 3 months and more. What would happen? They would, I don't know how you call it, repo? Take your house, take your apartments, that's how you call it. Just the bank owns it, right? The bank owns your real estate unless you pay off the mortgage. If you don't pay for 3 months, they can't take it. That's how it is. And you will be in the list of people who cannot pay, in the list of debts, people in debt, It's a big list. It's a bad list to be in. So this is going up in Russia in big time. You can see the red line. It doesn't lie. Why was it going down especially strongly after the full-scale invasion here? Because Russia started puking money for the family members and soldiers and everybody's connected to the military operation. And they pay the loans, as you can see. But now, whoa, it's going up, meaning they don't pay the mortgages anymore. So we can expect these banks to take the hit because they just can't, the loans are going bad. We all remember 2008, right? But it's just on a minuscule scale in Russia. Not global, but only in Russia. And now I just want to show you, again, this is another symbol or a symptom of the Russian recession. There's many of them. Let's just go through some charts. These charts represent it in many different ways, so everybody understands it the same in the end. Russia's annual growth is expected to cool after the wartime surge of 23 and 24. I'm not even gonna like, oh, it's gonna collapse, yada yada. I believe Russian economy is going to collapse. I'm just not going to report it like that because I think people have allergy for that already because it didn't for the first 2 years of the war. See, 23, it rose 4.1%. 24, it rose 4.3%. And that's what happens if you puke money at the problem. Even if you throw $1,100 bills into the fire will go bigger because the money burns. The fire gives heat and the fire gets big and then it burns out. And you can see 25 running on fumes is what I call this. 0.9% growth as we like right now, up until now. But the inflation is 20 or 15, something like that percent in Russia. So this number will turn negative by next year. And then it will go down big time. The money has run out, as we can see. These 2 years when it grew 4%, that's when the money did its magic and finally burns out. That's what happens if you don't have infinite supply of it, which Russia definitely doesn't. Let's take on the next chart. Russia increased interest rates in an effort to rein in inflation. Average interest rate has been, ever since October 24, year 24, October, it has been 21%, which is massive. And now they went down to 20, now they went down to 18, which is still absolutely massive. And still 1 year of this massive interest still has not curbed the inflation much, which gives you an idea where the state is with their economics. Another chart is Russian spending. This is the government spending. And you can see how it rises per quarters. It has risen massively, almost over 1/3. It has risen, but the incomes have fallen. So you raise the spending 1/3, your incomes fall about 1/3. Then you will survive as long as you have cash in the war chest, which is the Russian welfare fund, which is supposed to be money for the Russian people and pensions and everything. But of course, Putin doesn't care about that, so he just like throws it at the fire, keeps the flames going. And you can't do that until you have money. And we're reaching the point where there's no more money. It will take a lot of time. Russia is a big country. The inertia of that stuff, it takes months and years. But when it finally grinds to a halt and goes down, there's no stopping it. I think that's a nice note to take a break and talk about Buy Me a Coffee monthly members, because these are the guys who keep the channel going. And last time I had few names, but this time no problem. We have plenty of names, people signed up, and I'm gonna take my time. Thomas Sjoström. That sounds Nordic. Gordon Hiuma, for the bazillionth time, welcome back, my friend. And I know he have written to me, he's connected to second biggest island of Estonia, Hiuma. And there's a lot of Swedish culture there, and he is partially part of that culture. So Gordon, thank you for living in Hiuma. Art Installer Network. Nice. Joachim Gröger. Peter Hostetler. I couldn't even pinpoint where these might be from, but thank you. Mikhailia Kagesa. I will guess this is Moldova or Romania, but please do correct me. Mikhailia, it's a woman's name, sorry. Every 15th person is a female. Thank you. Thank you. Join the army. Now, my friends, something juicy for you. We have video evidence of Gur going to Crimea, or Ukrainians say actually Hur, I should say Hur also. Going to Crimea with their drones once again. They do that once a month, sometimes more often. You know what's interesting? Okay, in this specific one they hit stationary targets, but usually they hit the mobile radars, S-300, S-400 radars, anti-aircraft firing systems. They destroy them, and Russians just keep bringing in new ones from the Far East. They empty out the entire country. Crimea is a kill zone. It's like an ambush zone for Hur drones. And they just destroy these very high value, expensive targets. Then they wait for a month, Russia replenishes them, and then they destroy them again. It has been going on like this for a year at least, I think more. This is way over maybe a 10th video I've reacted like this. So it's beautiful. But what makes this one a bit different is the target lists. First of all, let's look at the list, look at the price tags. You can see it right here. Not going to read it to you, but the combined estimate is 315 million because all of these targets are very expensive. So this is obviously a stationary radar dome. Another stationary radar dome, PT-70. Now, I'm not even going to pretend I know something about this radar, but you don't need to be expert in this field. It's stationary, it's a radar, it's important, that's it. Just destroy it. That's what I know. That's what Ukraine is doing. We have two different radar domes right near here. Both say, oh, there's plenty more in the back. All stationary, one destroyed. They're going to follow up with the second one. And now for the first, okay, we got another radar station. And now I think we are getting to the mobile radar stations. And this, please do correct me if I'm wrong. I think this is S400 radar station. It looks like it. So yeah, S400, I don't get tired of saying this. Russia asks $1 billion for the export price of S400 battery. It's so expensive. So Ukraine just took out one of that. Yeah, it's insane. Oh, it was S400 radar defense system. Yeah. I don't know why Russia asks 1 billion to sell them to India or something, but here it says it's 40 million. But yeah, Russia sells their stuff very expensively, although it's garbage. This footage, though, surprised everybody because Ukrainians downed a Russian recon drone with electronic warfare meaning it wasn't damaged. They downed it on the field, they looked what's inside, what's on the memory card, if you want to say that. It was the Gerbera recon drone. And they found this specific footage. You can see that you find this footage, right? That's not Russia, my friends. That's China. China, as Trump says it. This is a test footage from the factory where this drone was made by the quality control guy who just made the footage, left it on there, and Russians didn't delete it. It's a bit eerie even. This is a pure symbol of this war is going on because of China. I mean, without it, the Russians couldn't have this recon drone. They couldn't have their thousands and hundreds of thousands of drones because they're all made in China with Chinese parts. And by the way, we saw a street, we saw cars, we saw a bridge, we saw lanterns. Let's go and see where this was made, because it was geolocated by people much smarter than me, and they were able to figure out where this was made based on this area, this yellow area where we saw on the footage, and this red building right here where it was shot. So this must be the factory. These are all the places where it could have been shot, the rooms. The camera is the A40 Pro model manufactured by ViewPro. According to the manufacturer's website, production is located in Shenzhen at the Eitoxing Science Park, Nanchang District. The footage was recorded from that location. Although the address provided on the website does not display correctly in Google Maps, after translating it into Chinese and verifying it via Baidu, we confirmed the geolocation with 100% certainty. Whoa, these guys are confident. I'm glad. We know where it was made. We know which building it was made in. China is in this war. They don't want people to know. I mean, people know as little about it as possible. China's okay with that. They're making billions off of this war. And Russia could not wage this war offensively without China. They could wage defensively, but not offensively. But now, my friends, everybody's been screaming about the Ukrainian Flamingo missile. We've seen plenty of footage. We all know the specs of that missile. Everybody's seen so much about it. But now, for the first time, the first battlefield use of it, and it's pretty. This is an FSB raft. I mean, it's a hovercraft. If it can go on land, it can go on water, it can go on ice. It's like it floats in a way because of the air pressure going on. 6 of them were destroyed. Check it out. The first publicly known combat use of Flamingo cruise missile has been reported against Russian targets in Crimea near Armyansk. The strike hit an FSB outpost and several patrol hovercraft. The attack took place early on 30th of August when a salvo of Flamingo missiles delivered a strike on objectives in northern Crimea. With the video of this Flamingo launch at targets in Crimea was released today. Of course, I want to watch the video with you, my friends. What did you think? Look at that. 3 launchers, right? We get ignition of all 3 of them. And fire away. Be free, my birds. Flamingo birds are free. That's the booster. And here you can see the booster being detached. It got the altitude and speed it wanted, and it throws the booster out. It falls to the ground, and the bird is free to go. Flamingo is free to go. I wish they would paint them pink, though. Please, Ukrainians, paint them pink. I must do a fundraiser for pink paint. They need to be pink. I mean, how beautiful it would be if Russians would find pink Flamingo missile parts on the epicenter of the explosion. That would be just a wow experience for us. I do hope they do that. But yeah, that's the real footage of the first battlefield usage. According to reports, 6 patrol hovercraft were damaged and at least 1 serviceman was killed. The exact type of vessels hit have not been disclosed. However, FSB border units in northern Crimea are known to operate Kivus A8 hovercraft capable of transporting up to 8 troops, as well as the larger A25PS class, which can carry between 30 and 50 personnel. So yeah, 6 of them knocked out cold. I love it. Now, my friends, let's teleport to Finland, because Finland does not mess around. They never have. Ever since the Winter War and the Continuation War, they didn't mess around. By the way, weird historical fact to you is that Estonia and Finland both had strong men as presidents at the time. Estonia actually had a dictator at the time, Konstantin Päts, who was afraid of Russia. Estonia had tanks and submarines at that time when Päts allowed Stalin's bases in Estonia, basically gave away the country. Now, Finnish president did the same thing, but the parliament said, no, screw you, we're going to war. The democratic process won. That's why Finland saved its independence. In Estonia, that didn't happen. We just gave it away. I mean, the dictator gave it away. So, Finland doesn't mess around, and they have proved their democracy works well. It has actually saved their country, and they have a victory experience with the Russians. So Russians and Putin definitely know about this. They remember about this. Because when the snow starts speaking Finnish, you know you're screwed. Finland's government plans to increase its reserves by 125,000 soldiers to more than 1 million by 2031, according to a new proposal just introduced to Parliament. If passed, Finland will have the 2nd largest wartime army in Europe after Russia. And it's not a Russian, it's 1 Finnish soldier. It doesn't compare on a scale to 1 Russian. I mean, Winter War statistics, have I ever looked at it with the deaths and injuries? It was 1 to 10. Finland and Russia was 1 to 10. 1 Finnish soldier literally took out 10 Russian soldiers. Or it was the weather, or it was Simo Hauha. But still, that was the statistics. Despite the country's population being only 5.6, Finland's unique conscription model makes it possible to put more than 1 million soldiers under arms. Now, Finland is very, very successful. I would say one of the most successful conscription countries in the world, because up to 70% of their men go through conscription. In Estonia, that number is sad. It's 30 to 40%. It could be a lot higher. But the thing is, Finnish conscript is high quality. It's not like some, I don't want to make that generalization, but some militarized African country that Wagner controls, Sudan, or where everybody's forced under gun, but the training is minimal. They're just meat bags. Not in Finland. That conscript, those guys, they can fight. They're motivated. They love their country and their culture, and they hate the Russians. In the meantime, when Ukraine is bombarding Russian oil refineries and releasing birds, flamingo birds, pink ones into Crimea, destroying hovercraft, Putin flew to Shanghai. And it was the annual Shanghai Cooperation Organization summit in Tianjin. 10 member bloc countries of Eurasian nations And the summit was also being attended by the leaders of 16 observer dialogue partner nations. But Putin, I mean, there was Aliyev and Erdogan from Turkey and Azerbaijan, right? They arrived, they were welcomed with honors and bands and everything. You can see all of that shenanigans going on for these two. But for some reason, I don't know why, maybe you know more about the diplomatic conduct of this stuff, but Putin was welcomed by no honors, by no bands, by no fancy bouquets of flowers, just diplomats. I'm not here to claim anything, but it struck me, this weird detail. Here is the moment Putin, Xi Jinping welcomes Putin, they shake hands, they make photos, and then they chatted for a little bit with the translators, of course, because Putin speaks English, German and Russian, but not Chinese. And you can notice again Putin with the hand gesture and like this hand gesture, this hand gesture, this hand gesture. And now, a little bit of a drinking one. Let's take some shots. Yeah, boy, I'm from Russia. Where's my vodka? I don't know if that means... Putin doesn't really drink much, I know that. But I make that when I go with my friends to bar and I do that. He knows what I mean. We're going to order shots. So I'm not sure if Putin wants to do some shots with Xi Jinping. But hey, you never know. Times are tough. And then finally we got this random handshake when they were taking photos. For some reason, he's like, hey, let's shake hands. Boom, done. Business conducted. I don't know what's going on. Why was this specific moment chosen to shake hands with this guy? But hey, okay, I'm not overanalyzing this, I know. The fact is they met, they're really important to each other. China is enabling this war in any way possible. Without China, Russia could not wage an offensive war. That's the pure fact. Their own resources have run out. China is now supporting them in every way. And finally, I want to take you guys to the front. Just to give you guys perspective and to give myself perspective, because I'm also here I'm in Europe, I'm in NATO, I'm in the EU, in my cozy little studio doing videos for you. I don't have to be on the front like that, but check it out. It's beginning to rain more, the rain and mud season is in full swing in Ukraine, it's starting now, and that's their reality. And I just want to take this moment and appreciate that I don't have to be there. That's not my reality. I will, if I'm summoned. Trenches will flood. They're always wet. You can never get dry. So much mud. Yeah. We can both be very thankful that this is not either of us. You're watching this video from somewhere cozy. I assume I'm making it from somewhere cozy. So this guy filmed this video in not such a cozy place. Hot coffee. Happy 1st of September to the soldier. This was it, my friends. Happy 1st of September. More to your kids, because they are the one feeling the anxiety going to school with the bouquet of flowers right now. And to the Russian kids who have to go with Putin's pinal and pencil case and backpack. Yikes. But happy 1st of September to you in the West. Enjoy it. Devote it to your kids. I will see you again on Wednesday in 2 days. So be sure to be back and subscribe. Until then, Slava Ukraini and bye-bye.